Before laws, how ancient humans kept the peace. Imagine a world without police, courts, or prisons. A world where your only protection was the trust of your neighbors. This wasn't a distant fantasy. It was the reality for our ancestors for tens of thousands of years. How did early human societies maintain order and prevent chaos long before the first laws were ever written down? It is a question that takes us deep into the heart of what it means to be human, revealing a complex web of customs, beliefs, and social pressures that were just as powerful, if not more so, than any modern legal code. The answer isn't about brute force, but about the invisible threads that bind a community together. Join us as we journey back in time to uncover the unwritten rules of the Stone Age and explore the ingenious ways our ancestors kept to the peace. Before the gavel fell in the first courtroom, before kings issued their first decrees, humanity thrived. For the vast majority of our existence, we lived in small, tight-knit groups of hunter-gatherers. In these bands, everyone knew everyone. Your survival depended not just on your own skills, but on the cooperation of the entire group. This interdependence was the bedrock of prehistoric social order. There were no written laws, but there were rules, understood by all and enforced by the community itself. These weren't laws in the sense we know them today. They were a blend of tradition, necessity, and a deep-seated understanding of social dynamics. To understand their world is to understand the foundations of our own. At the core of these early societies was kinship. Family ties weren't just about love and affection. They were the primary social and economic structure. Your kin were your allies, your support system, and your first line of defense. But beyond blood relatives, a powerful principle governed interactions. Reciprocity. The idea of I help you, you help me, was essential. If a hunter shared his catch, he did so with the expectation that others would share with him when he returned empty-handed. This wasn't just generosity. It was a social insurance policy. Someone who consistently took without giving back would quickly find themselves isolated. And in a world where cooperation was life, isolation was a death sentence. This system of mutual obligation, known as reciprocal altruism, created a powerful incentive for pro-social behavior, ensuring that individuals contributed to the group's welfare. So what happened when someone broke these unwritten rules? What if someone was lazy, stole food, or acted violently? Without prisons, how was justice served? The most powerful tool was social enforcement. It began with gossip. In a small community, your reputation was everything. People talked. If you were known as a cheat or a shirker, others would be wary of cooperating with you. This could escalate to public ridicule or shaming, a deeply humiliating experience designed to correct behavior. But the ultimate punishment was ostracism, being ignored, excluded, and effectively cast out of the group. For a social creature like a human, especially in a dangerous prehistoric world, being alone meant almost certain death. The psychological pain of exclusion, combined with the very real physical danger, was a deterrent more powerful than any jail cell. The fear of being cast out kept most people in line. Customs and traditions also played a huge role in reinforcing social norms. Rituals surrounding birth, coming of age, marriage, and death weren't just ceremonies. They were public affirmations of the group's values and structure. They reminded everyone of their roles, their responsibilities, and their connection to one another and to their ancestors. Storytelling was another vital tool. Myths and legends weren't just entertainment. They were morality tales, carrying lessons about the consequences of greed, dishonesty, and betrayal. They provided a shared cultural script, a common understanding of right and wrong that was passed down through generations. These traditions created a strong collective identity and a sense of continuity, making the group's rules feel sacred and timeless, not just arbitrary. When conflicts did arise, and they inevitably did, the goal was often not punishment, but restoration. In many early societies, the focus was on healing the rift in the community. This is what we now call restorative justice. If someone was wronged, the elders, or the community as a whole, might gather to mediate. The objective was to have the offender acknowledge their wrongdoing, make amends to the victim, and be reintegrated into the group. For example, if a tool was stolen, the thief might be required to return it and offer an additional payment or service to the owner. This approach recognized that the harm was not just to an individual, but to the social fabric itself. Punishing the offender by removing them would only weaken the group. Healing the relationship was far more beneficial for everyone in the long run. It was a practical, community-focused approach to justice. Of course, Some transgressions were too severe for gossip or mediation. What about murder? While rare in these small communities, it did happen. In such cases, the response could be swift and final. Often, the victim's kin had the right to seek revenge, a concept known as a blood feud. This could lead to a destabilizing cycle of violence. However, many societies had mechanisms to prevent this, such as demanding a payment of blood wealth to the victim's family to settle the matter. In the most extreme cases, if an individual was deemed a persistent danger to the group, a repeat murderer, or someone who consistently sowed chaos, the community might make the collective decision to execute or permanently banish them. This was a last resort, taken only when the individual posed an existential threat to the group's survival. The world of our prehistoric ancestors was governed by a sophisticated system of social control, built on kinship, reciprocity, and the ever-present power of the community. It shows that law and order don't necessarily require governments or police forces. For thousands of years, the simple human needs for belonging and cooperation were enough to maintain a stable society. As our societies grew larger and more anonymous, these informal methods became less effective, paving the way for the formal legal systems we have today. But the echoes of that ancient world remain in our own sense of morality, our desire for community, and the sting we feel from social disapproval. Our ancestors' unwritten rules laid the foundation for all human justice. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this journey into our deep past interesting, please hit the like button and subscribe for more explorations of history and human nature. Let me know in the comments what you think was the most effective tool for keeping the peace. See you next time.